Hello and welcome to the third IFSC Boulder World Cup of 2016. I'm Charlie Bosco, joined today by Alex Kazanov, and we are coming to you from Chongqing in China. The cultural hub of Western China, Chongqing is the largest Chinese municipality by area and, according to the 2010 census, the most populated. Chongqing is a varied and interesting place which retains a traditional feel despite its huge size. However, plans are afoot to expand the city even further, and it is one of China's so-called 13 emerging megacities. Surrounded by green forest-covered mountains, Chongqing lies on the Yunggui Plateau and is the meeting place of the Jieling and Yangtze rivers. Fact of the day, there are 48 bridges over those two rivers. Bet you didn't know that.
No,
Alex,
I didn't.
welcome to the IFSC.
Thank
welcome
you.
to the commentary booth.
Thank
You
you.
just had a look at the problems, and you've already made a prediction of how
Oh,
many
wow.
tops it's going to take.
I don't.
I'm going to put you on the spot straight away.
I don't want my first prediction to be wrong, and it's commentator curse, right? But I think you need to do quite a lot of toss for the men this time. It's going to be easier semi-final than the other ones, and I think 3 toss for the men might be okay, and 2 toss for the women. The women looks hard. But you never know, and let's see what happens.
I just wanted to put you on the spot first up.
Yeah.
It's fine, I haven't had a prediction right this season. So you think the men are going to need probably 3 tops, the women 2. That's obviously
Yeah.
a wild guess, but interesting to get your input. We just had a look at the problems together.
Yeah. Also, I think in this problem you need to stop with your foot. Like the men's one, you need to jump, stop with your foot, and keep going.
So we've got Caroline Sinhuber and Baptiste Omets out. But
Yeah.
Baptiste, he's a strong climber. He's not big on training.
No, so Baptiste lives in France, and he barely climbs on plastic. He climbed all his life on the rock. He didn't train on plastic at all until recently, and now he trains just maybe twice a week in the gym and climbs outdoors all the time. And he's a really, really talented climber. He was second in the youth European Championships last year, and it's his second semi-final this year. So looks like he's on the right track. He's really young. He's just 17. So.
Well, it worked for Chris Sharma. He was never big on training too much, and he's done okay.
Oh yeah. There are few people like this. Adam Ondra didn't train that much until he was older. Here's a flash.
Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, flasher, Caroline Sinhuber.
Nice.
Walks out, first climber. The crowd's still assembling, and we have a top.
We'll see what happens in the rest of the boulders.
Yeah, she's had a long junior career, Caroline. Didn't do her first World Cup until 2014.
Yeah.
This is her third semi-final, and a very good start to it.
Yeah, a good flash.
So
I
this
think we see more flashes than number 1.
You're not going back on that prediction, are you?
No.
2 minutes 30 in. No, I'm only ribbing you. So Baptiste, we were looking at this problem just 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's quite complicated in a way.
Yeah, it's a really tricky jump. It's I don't think it's going to be hard for all competitors, but it is really tricky. You have to stop with your foot. Then the ending is not easy at all. It's really technical and balancy. So we need to see what the other guys will do, but this problem is looks really interesting. So it'll be cool.
Yeah, we were at a slight disadvantage, not wanting to grumble, but the problems were covered up and being worked on until the very last second. So we had a quick scout.
Oh yeah.
But we haven't been able to examine them too closely.
It might get good. It might get hotter in the as the competition progresses, and it's going to be a bit harder for the guys who qualified first to the semi-final, because yesterday it was pretty decent in the morning, and then it got really, really hot in the sun later. Oh, nice! He sticks the bonus.
So So what do you think here? We go with the left hand?
I think you should right, but I think you should put your foot on the volume on the right side and go right. Press it. And
He's obviously thinking the same as us, not quite sure just yet.
I think you might be able to go both ways, but yeah,
Quite
should
on
go
the left.
right. Should switch your hand to a mental right, put your left foot high, and go. But it's hard to say when you're in that position while you're in the comp. You're very nervous and it's hard to think properly. I mean, Baptiste is really young. He doesn't have a lot of experience, so it's even harder for him to think while he's climbing. I mean, the younger competitors are really strong, but they don't have as much experience as the older guys. So you
No.
can see it sometimes in the comps that they do really a lot of tries here. Baptiste, I think he did more than 10 tries on this climb. And while a more experienced climber would do less probably. So Tyler Landman and Sierra are coming out
Sierra's first semi-final this
year. Yeah. She did a few semifinals this year. She's getting better each year.
Last year.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
Last year she did some semifinals. This year, first one, but she did look strong in the qualification round. So
Tyler's been climbing well recently. He's in the final in the first event in Meiringen, came 6th and 12th last time out in Kazo. So
yeah, he did really good at in Sheffield 1 month ago. He was third there. Yeah, it's good to see him back. Ty was one of the strongest climbers a few years ago, and then kind of disappeared for a while, and now he's back. It's good to have him back. He's a really talented climber.
Sierra also making good progress on women's 1. Still her first attempt.
Oh no! Just lost balance there.
It looked as if she just hesitated, perhaps, as if she changed her mind about how to do the move, but unfortunately she's just midway through it. But with over 3.5 minutes on the clock, should be reasonably confident of getting that.
It's a bit tricky move because the last hold is really bad, and it's kind of you don't know where to go, either to the top of the volume or to the screw on the top of it, the bottom of it. And if you hesitate while you're climbing, it's not gonna end well. She had to just go for it.
How did you find the style of problems yesterday? Of course, you climbed in the qualifiers.
So they were a bit easier than the rest of the World Cups this year. Good. I like the qualification problems and I like the semi-final problems here. They're really diverse. They test a lot of different aspects in climbing.
Gets it that time, Sierra. Second attempt.
Go. Nice.
Caroline Simhuber got it first go, but successful top for Sierra Blake.
Everything is open. They have 3 more problems. So
it's a long way to go. We saw this on the women's qualifiers yesterday. I think the first problem, something like the first 10 women out.
yeah.
Topped it, and then it began to tail off.
Yeah, in the women there is a big gap between the first and the qualifier and the last qualifier. I think Shauna did. Melissa qualified first with 5 tops, and the 20th girl, Caroline, qualified with 1 top. So it's a big gap there.
So Tyler back on men's problem 1. We identified this when we went for our inspection walk, the brief inspection walk. It looks like there's quite a lot of different ways of doing it. And he's back where Baptiste
I
is.
think it just looks like there's a lot of ways, and actually the route setters intended and thought about one way and actually really tried that this way would be the easiest way. There's always different ways to do every climb, but there is always the easiest way to do it, and this is the right way to do it. Of course, if you are really strong and a climb is really easy, you can do whatever you want on it, but if it's your limit, you should do just the right thing. And
It's clever route setting because the solution isn't obvious, but it looks from the first two climbers that you have to get that solution or you're going to struggle to climb it. It might not be a
it's
plan B.
it's a lot of pressure for the route setters because they can set something too tricky and then nobody will understand it.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily really hard. It might be just really tricky and really complicated to read, and then you see no one doing it because it's just too complicated. And it's a lot of pressure on the route setters not to do anything too easy or too hard.
It's actually a very difficult place to set Chongqing. I'll resume this in 1 second. So Anna sticks the jump this time. So he's back at the
Bonus.
lever that they've both been having, which is whether to go left or right. It's going to go left this time. Is he? Yeah. No. Foot slips off. I was going to say it's a difficult place to route set this because the weather changes so much. We're sitting now, it's very grey. You may see it when we get a wide angle. Very grey, overcast day. Earlier on it was bright sunshine, and yesterday it was warm in the morning and then a bit of a chilly, cool wind blew in, and the route setters at the last second changed the women's qualifying boulders to make them slightly harder to take account of this wind, and then it suddenly went hot again.
Yeah,
So
then the sun came out and it was really hot. It's hard to route set. It's also a bit hard to know what's the weather be like. It can change a lot, but I think yesterday they did a pretty good job. And let's see what's up today. But
well, the route setters, we have been working since the start of this week. We first came to the venue on Wednesday and working away. It was really hot and humid, so it's really tough to set in hot, humid conditions. Whilst it could be hot and humid on the day, it might also be cold. And as I say, yesterday it decided to make the women's problems harder, and then it went hot again. So it's a real battle for the route setters as well as the climbers. They've done a good job so far, as we see Sean McCall on the right of your screen.
his first attempt.
And Hung Ying Lee
Is there.
out on women's problem 1.
Baptiste is doing progress on M number 2 here. Tries to put his foot out. And
So men's problem 2.
really small crimps. It's just straightforward and really small holds, a lot of finger strength. And Sean is not quite getting the jump there.
So on the right of your screen you can see the pink volumes, not the orange volumes. The pink ones are the far right. That is men's problem 2. And those top volumes you can see in the 2 redder holes are deceptively overhanging. That is a steep part of the wall. The holes are tiny. So
You barely can see them from the ground. They're so small.
So Hung Ying Lee has been consistent so far, 29th in Meiringen and exactly the same in Kazo. She did make the semi-finals here in Chongqing in 2014 though, so obviously likes climbing here. Strapping on that left shoulder and both wrists.
Oh, Sean went right here, pressing up. And he needs to go left now to the volume, switch feet, and go right hand to the pinch.
Looks very calm.
Nice. Looking strong here. Right hand. Top.
Almost.
Hard match here. Nice.
Now
First
it's
stop.
official.
First stop for number 1.
Looked really controlled there, Sean. You could see in his face, it wasn't too much exertion. Very measured.
It's really good for him or for other strong climbers or that that can come out a bit earlier in the round. It helps a lot. It's a big advantage to be one of the first climbers on the wall. The holes are clean. Your head is clean. You don't know what the others did. Your time in the isolation is really short. You just come, warm up, and go out. Helps a lot.
Well, let's just have a quick look at women's problem 2. It's the first action we've seen on it. It's Caroline Zinhuber who flashed problem 1. Making good progress on women's problem 2, but again, that wall is deceptively overhanging, as you can probably tell from the way she's moving.
Next moves are really hard, really complicated. This climb is not easy.
quite a contrast to men's problem 2. Men's 2, lots of small crimps. Women's 2, it's big volumes, quite strenuous all-body climbing. So as we see Hung Lee trying again on
Number 1.
problem 1. So Sierra Blair Coyle got this one second time, and Caroline
Yes.
Sinhuber flashed it.
I think it's important to flash this climb.
Well, you'd have thought if the first person out flashes it, you're going to need to flash it to stay in contention.
I think the top women in the competition will flash it. So
It's worth remembering though, there is a long way to go, and Sierra Blair Coyle, she didn't flash it, she did get it second go, so she's got the top. Caroline Sinhuber, again dropping that right leg. She can't quite make that shift of body position work.
but she got a bonus there. She will need it probably. Baptiste putting the foot up.
Time becoming an issue here.
Got a bonus here.
So the bonus is actually that specific hold that he's got. It's not the volume. It's a tiny hold. It's going to be timed out. So next up we're going to see Meiko Taki in women's problem 1 and Germany's Jan Hoyer. You can see her now on the right of your screen is out on men's problem 1. Now there's talk, whether it's ugly rumour, there is talk that Jan tries to finish towards the end of the qualification while still making the semis. Do you think, is that possible? Obviously the reason being he'd then get to climb early. Do you think he can do that? Or do you think he just climbed as hard as he could and came 17th?
I don't think he climbed as hard as he could. I don't know if it was in purpose to climb earlier or to save power, but it is a tactic and helps a lot to climb first in the semi. And well, it worked for him. I think he's extremely happy to climb in that early in the stage with clean holes and clean head. There is a rumor that he does it, and I think it's a bit risky for most of the climbers, but maybe it's for an experienced climber like Jan, if possible. But
it's certainly a very risky tactic because in the qualifiers yesterday, Jan was, I think, first out, possibly second, but certainly very early on. So you don't know what you've got to do. You don't know what everyone else has done. So if he did intentionally not give everything to the last problem because he thought he'd done enough, it's a risky tactic, but it's paid off.
I think Jan was really confident in this climb.
You can see why.
Yeah, it was yesterday really helped him. Tai is doing good progress. Jan is a really technical guy. He thinks about the climbs. I know that if he climbs the first boulder and he can't do it, he might look a bit aside and see there are other boulders and think, okay, if he can't do the slab, he might be able to do the overhang. So he's really technical climber. He thinks about every round and every problem. But it's part of competition.
Just watching Meiko Taki here. Good progress on women's 1, but this was the move that Ying Lee couldn't quite make work. She wasn't in Meiringen, Meiko Taki. She just slips off. She wasn't in Meiringen. Came to Kazo. It's only a 6th World Cup though. Sierra Blair Coyle climbing for Team USA. She's from Scottsdale, Arizona. What a cool place to be from.
The only USA climber in this competition. She's doing well. I think she'd be really happy with her results here, making the semi-final.
That looked quite a promising way of doing that move actually. She had a lot of weight going through her foot on that rounded volume. You can see just to the above and left of where it says W2. She had her foot on that and she was sat quite comfortably on it.
I think the problem is going to be to go after the bonus to this bowl. The bonus is really bad, it's really slopey. And the conditions are getting just worse and worse. So it's really humid here in Chongqing, so makes the climbs even harder than they are. They're already really hard.
So Meiko Taki, you can tell from her movement that Although we've had 2 tops on this problem, even getting towards the final moves. There's no pushover. And you're right, the humidity has increased. It's quite subtle here. The sky looks the same. Everything looks the same, but there is a little more moisture in the air, and on a problem like this, it's a big factor.
It's a big factor. Also, the mat is and the pads are getting really full of chalk, and the shoes are getting full of chalk, and it's harder to climb the slab. Here's Ty got a bonus on M2. Really confident here on the top of the climb. 2 more moves to go. Just lost it.
Looks at his hand. I wonder if he, again, we were just talking about the humidity. I wonder if he was looking at where his chalk had gone. The way he just slipped off that hole didn't look like he was expecting it. Meiko Taki, she's got 16 seconds.
See if she can do it.
Can
Nice.
do it. Big smile. Cut it fine, but she made it made it in the end.
Actually, yesterday in the men's qualifiers, in the last problem, there are 4 guys who finished in less 10 seconds. Roland Rugens is out, climber from Latvia. Really strong climber. Made finals in Kazu. Was his first final there. Did a lot of semifinals in his career. Won the qualifications a few times, and just couldn't make it to the finals. But now he made it once, so maybe he could do it again. Definitely a guy to watch.
And we got Yuka Kobayashi, excuse me, out in the women's event. She's 39th in Kazo. So
She's actually a lead climber. She did a lot of finals in the lead World Cups, and it's kind of nice to see her in Bouldering World Cup as well.
So this is our first look at men's problem 3 and women's problem 3. Just have a quick look at Yuka Kobayashi. We were just talking about her.
Yuka is looking confident here on the volumes. Patience is the key on slabs.
Got to get every limb just right, just set it. There's no point moving until you're steady. You can see that here. And just repositioning that right foot was quite tricky. But
She go a bit faster to this last hold. Stand on the foot.
I wonder if she's going to move that right foot.
She needs to.
Adjust her balance. You'd have thought it'd be hard to go from where she is. She's willing it closer. Yeah, the right foot just creeping up, just on her toe.
Come on.
Nice control climbing. It's unlucky.
Close.
She went slightly differently to some of the other climbers.
Shauna is looking very strong here on the upper part of the M2. Really strong on those crimps. This wall is very overhanging. It's hard to see in the screen, but it's really overhanging. The holes are really small.
Yeah, the most overhanging section is that top triangle of wall that Sean's hands are on and his feet are about to be
The
on.
holes are tiny up there. The feet are really bad. It's going to be a really hard move up there.
The thing is as well, the top hold on that problem is so small that you wouldn't have thought you'd be able to lunge for it. You're going to have to use those 2 holds. Anyway, on to women's problem 3. This does look an interesting problem. You'd imagine she'll match with the right and then go up with the right again. Yep.
Just dropped the last move.
That certainly looks like the way to do it. Got 1 top,
She
1
did look
bonus so
confident.
far. So Yuka Kobayashi is back on problem 1. Does a lot of lead climbing competitions, as you say, so one thing she may not encounter that much is slabs.
Definitely. There are some things that are unique just for bouldering that you not quite do as much as in the lead World Cups, like slabs or jumps. But I think it's important to train all for both categories, in both disciplines.
Frustrating to watch. It must be so frustrating to climb. You can see the tip of her right toe just slipped off there. We're back on women's problem 3. Caroline's in Huber.
She sticks it.
Sticks that last move. You can see that was
Good job.
touch and go with her feet staying on, but they just about stayed on. Now men's problem 3. The route setters have not helped as much. They've set a very good route, but they've hidden the holds. We'll see when we go back to men's problem 3.
Shauna is back on number 2, the right side of the screen. Back in this upper section. That's a new way of doing it.
Gonna need extreme body tension here and fin this
A
one.
lot of power out
Shawn
here.
has both. Great work from
Solid
Shawn.
climbing.
Look how much it means to him.
He could be really happy with this stop. Shawn had a bit of rough time in the last 2 comps. He couldn't really climb his best. I think he could do way better, and he's really looking to show us all what he's capable of in this comp.
We were lucky to have him last week commentating on the finals, but I think a lot of people, including me, much as I enjoyed his company, would have preferred to see him climbing because he's one of the greats of the sport, a legend. I think he told me last week he's in 103 World Cups.
That's so much.
Which, when you think that we only have 6 or 7 in each category each year, tells you just how long he's been at this. Here's Sierra Blair Coyle.
Another legend just started his semi-final, Dmitry Shafutinov, 3-time world champion, 11-time gold medalist. He's climbing since 1989. So
when you think that
for
some
a
of
really long time.
some of the competitors, certainly in Kazo, were born in the year 2000. He'd been climbing 11 years by the time some of them were born. I should point out they were in the women's competition, but still, he has been doing this a long time.
He's won his 4 world championships in 2007, and he won 3 since then. So
not his first rodeo. This. We see him on men's problem 1. He's trying this slightly
strong.
differently. Equally successfully now. I think that was how Shawn
Catch.
tried it.
Jan went from this position straight to the top. Shawn went to the left. These both ways are possible.
Here's Dimitri, just figuring out. So he knows he can touch it, but unfortunately touching it isn't enough. You've got to match both hands on it.
See, this is the
Control.
difference between experienced climber and not as experienced climber. Dimitri can think while he's climbing and change his way in the middle of the go. As a less experienced climber would have to think before he climbs.
And you can see with that, as we see Jan Hoyer just behind him.
Jan Hoyer is strong in his climb. Tough for Jan Hoyer.
Need to put both hands on it, Jan. Well done. So Dimitri here, you could see him when he was shifting over to the left. You can just feel where the edge of the grip is for that right hand. He just instinctively knows. And in the back of the screen, you can see a Sierra Blair Coyle making good progress on women's 3.
It's exciting to see so many strong climbers and competitors that early in the round.
Dimitri's been on this problem a long time.
But he knows he can do it, so takes the time. Go left here. Looks like the better way to do it. Got one hand on the last hold. Tough for Dimitri.
Great work, Dimitri. He was on that problem we didn't see when he actually started, but well over a minute. As we see Clementon Casey for the first time today.
Made finals in Meiringen.
Here's Sierra looking for another look at women 3. First problem, she got it second go. Second boulder, she got it.
And
Bonus 3, she also has a bonus so far.
Tyler and M3 here. Back to the slab.
women's Boulder 1. Clementine. She's going to work that right foot up, you would imagine. Not quite that
You
time.
definitely need to go fast to this last hole. It's going to be really hard to do it that statically. See the judge explaining Thai that he has to start with 2 hands and 2 feet, the marked holds. Cannot start just with 1 hand and 2 feet.
So we mentioned very briefly earlier, you can see on men's problem 3, the holes are hidden in that black section of wall.
There are some more holes on this wall that you cannot see. Some really small footholds for the next moves.
Tyler on that boulder using up a lot of attempts on and off the ground. Clementine. 12 seconds. Should be enough.
We've already seen one woman do it just in less seconds. She needs to go fast here.
Both hands, but not in control. So catches Alvine out, and Yuji Fujiwaki.
Kata, she's a really, really experienced climber. She's doing the World Cup for a long time now. Lives in Austria.
Here's Sean McCall, men's problem 3. This boulder is not seen top yet, but Sean is climbing very well.
Baptiste on M number 4. It's a really big run and jump.
So men's boulder 4. It's the first time we've seen anyone on it. Just having something explained to him by the judges. So Caroline Zinhuber, 2 tops so far. Not this time.
The women 4 looks really hard. Probably the hardest problem for the women. Really powerful and really small holds here. Roland just dropped the top of M number 2. Extremely strong climber when it comes to crimps. He's really light. His fingers are really strong. Baptiste is up really high on this one. Just misses the top here on M4.
So we had a look at women's boulder 4 and identified that it could be pretty brutal. There's small holes and
Not a lot of feet out there as well.
not a lot of feet. Body tension, finger strength, power. You're going to need it all for women's boulder 4.
It might be the hardest climb for the women, but
Certainly looked it on the inspection, but looks can be deceiving. Here's Sean.
Sean is using a
men's
different
3.
beta than Ty. Static way. The holes are really small. They are basically just footholds. I don't think you can grab them with your hands.
So if you're just joining us, we're coming to you from Chongqing, China. This is the semi-final, and these are the 7th climbers out. Katja Zalvine and Yuji Fujiwaki, joined by Alex Kazanov, who climbed yesterday.
It's also important to know that those climbers been traveling for a while now, and they are all exhausted of the traveling. They went to Switzerland, then to Japan, then to China. It's a lot of planes. It's a lot of atmosphere changes.
Quick look at Baptiste.
This is going.
He's close with that. Yeah, it's a good point because all of us who are involved with this, we're very lucky to travel and see the world as part of the IFSC. But the reality is, much as it's great to see all these places, it is a lot of time on planes and airport lounges and different hotels, and sleep better some places than others, and some nights than others. It is quite disruptive, and for athletic performance, it will start to become a factor after 3 weeks on the road for most of these competitors.
I think also we will see it in Innsbruck. Some of the climbers here will skip the next World Cup in India in order to be more fit in the World Cup in Innsbruck.
Yeah, next week we are in Nanjing. It's only a speed competition. There's also a master boulder event, but not a Boulder World Cup. Then we're into Mumbai for a Boulder World Cup. And then we're in Innsbruck the week after. And as you say, many of them are skipping. Well, not many. Some of the climbers are skipping Mumbai to be fresher for Innsbruck. Here's Baptiste.
Back on top of M4. The left side.
Every time he's been closer.
The left side of this volume is a big jug, but I think it's really hard to jump to it. You need to hold the right side in order to finish this climb.
But the problem is that as you jump left, the whole face is left. So initially it feels good, and as your momentum takes you further left, it just feels worse and worse to the point that you can't quite hold it. It seems to be what happened to Baptiste. As you saw Katja there, not keen on women's one. Very experienced climber, as you say. Her and her partner Jorg Verhoeven just been on a 5-month round the world trip, climbing in South Africa, Australia, the States.
Talking about Jorg,
there he is.
Here he is.
And I actually hadn't even glanced at my start list. Pure coincidence. I was just talking about it, but yeah, they've just been all over the world. Jorg said, obviously they got back, they've been trad climbing, sport climbing, bouldering, you name it. So he said he didn't feel that specifically fit for anything when he got back home to Innsbruck, but he's been training, already been on a podium. He was third in Meiringen, so 5 months of variety obviously hasn't done him too much harm.
He's one of the older climbers here in the circuit. He's 30 years old, something you don't see that much anymore. Most of the climbers here are around somewhere between 20 to 25, but he's definitely a really experienced climber. You can see him just cruising this climb to the bonus.
He's a very clever climber as well. I think you probably get that from climbing indoors, outdoors, trad, sport, bouldering, such varieties.
Yeah, he's a really all-around climber, and he's really good in all the aspects of climbing. I think this is what Bouldering World Cup is all about. The route setters want to test you about in any style of climbing, and they're looking for the best overall climber, not necessarily just the strongest climber in crimps or the strongest climber in slopers, more just the strongest climber in everything. She's holding a part of the wall here. It is allowed.
This is Chloe Collier of Belgium.
Made her first final in Kazoo last week. Definitely a rising star. She's still young. She's just 19 years old. Had a lot of time here in the circuit. Top for Jorg Verhoeven, a number 1. Good job on this one.
See Chloe going up. She's recovering from a knee injury. You can see that strapping on her right knee. But most of the power's through the left knee, as you can see.
It doesn't hit to stop her.
No. I couldn't imagine jumping off the top of the wall does it much good, but 15th in Meiringen, 6th in Kazo. Not holding her back too much, but obviously still a slight issue. There's still some strapping on there. So we have just over 2.5 minutes left in this round. Fanny Gibert will be out next. In the women, last week's second place finisher Misha Picolaraza will be out in the men's. As we watch, Clemente in the women's problem 2 and Dmitry Sharafrutinov at the men's problem 2.
I would think that Dmitry do it a bit faster. Dmitry is extremely strong when it comes to crimps. He's known to have maybe the strongest finger in the circuit. The Russians are really, really good in small holds.
We just saw a replay there of a understandably delighted Mei Kotaki topping out women's problem 3.
Dmitry just finished here on number 2. I think he wants to save some power to the next climbs.
I wonder if he was asking the judge something there.
I think he just thought it might be a good idea to skip this climb in order to have more power to the next one. But
Here's Sierra Blair Coyle on the right. Women's problem 4, Tyler Landman of Great Britain, although has joint US nationality, so he could be on the same team as Sierra if he chose to. But he competes for Great Britain, he's on men's problem 4. Just slips off on the start of the run. Better this time. No, not quite.
really hard move. This
Well,
jump.
You've got to generate momentum, keep it, and then lose it.
You need to fly, and you need to do so many movements. You need to run, you need to jump, you need to hold the holds, yeah, to aim to the holds. Ah, got the jump here.
He's only got 10 seconds. He's going to have to get a move on, but
It might be enough for
might
this.
make it.
Just 2 more moves.
He'll hear that beep. He knows he's got to go. Now or never. No. Close and tight.
Here's Michel Picodoraz here on Emdawaran, our second place finisher in the last World Cup. He made his first senior final in Eindhoven in the European Championships. He almost won that one by dropping the last move of the last climb. He didn't win the European Championships. He was only like 16 or 17 back then. Since then he made finals in Innsbruck as well, but didn't quite make podium and did it last week. So let's see what he can do today. Maybe repeat it. Who knows?
Well, my co-commentator, Alex Kazanov, Misha is one of your closest friends, isn't he? So
He's
we can forgive a bit of favoritism.
one of my best friends. So
You've been staying with him in Innsbruck, hey?
yeah, I was.
And he's talk us through his training regime and his lifestyle.
I mean, he's a student, so he's basically studying a lot and training in the Tivoli gym in Innsbruck. And it's quite a cool gym because there are a lot of strong climbers there. Jorg is training there, Jakob Schubert is training there, Kata Sauron is training there.
Just the top there from Fanny Gibert, little pump of the fist. Sorry, carry on.
And basically, they just all climb together and think about problems and push each other, and it's really friendly atmosphere. It's a really cool place to be, Innsbruck. I think it's gonna be excited for the World Cup there in Strum Turf.
Yeah, we have the World Cup there towards the end of May, and it's actually in the Olympiahalle. It's not in the famous Marktplatz this year. The Olympiahalle, though, is right next to the Tivoli wall, so if you are going to come and watch, you can also have a climb beforehand. I suspect it might be quite busy.
I think this year the World Cup in Innsbruck will take place in the Olympic Stadium for the first time. So Sean Sticks jump, looking really strong here on the top of this climb. See if he can finish it. Really poor hold out there. There is a screw on for the thumb, just in the middle of the volume. Thinks what he needs to do here. Puts a toe hook on. So close here for the top for Sean. Ah.
That's exactly what we saw from Baptiste. Oh man, it's just get his hand on
think
the top. He
it's-
just can't quite stay there. Let's just have a look at this replay of this. Wow, that's how you do it.
That was in a really good style for sure. I think the top of this climb will be a bit easier for taller climbers, as they could reach with the toe or heel hook on a bonus hold.
Let's catch his Alvine there. Right of your picture on women's problem 2. And Yuji Fujiwaki on men's problem 2.
Rollin is doing good progress here on M number 3. I think
If you can't make out the holds, don't worry, there are some there, but they are pretty small on that black triangular section of wall that you saw Roland's on there. So Fanny Gibert has already topped women's problem 1, which is why her name is up here. Misha Pigolroaz is on men's problem 1.
Jan Hoyer is currently in first place with 2 tops and 2 bonuses. Then Sean McCall with 2 tops and 6 tries. Then Jörg Verhoeven with 1 flash. Really good job on number 1 there.
Here goes Sean again. Let's see if he can do the same movement. He can. Oh, he looks
Really
like
solid in the jump.
he looks like he could do those moves in his sleep. But
Only 50 seconds to go, so not a lot of time for Sean. He needs to top it in this try.
I suspect if he doesn't get it this try, he's going to be getting very tight for time. We'll find out though. Doesn't top it. 40 seconds. Is that a shake of the head? We can't quite see him from here. I think he's going to go for another go.
He should. It's his last climb. Isha can't quite understand the jump here.
15 seconds left of the round. And see Sean McCall from here, and he's not going for another go. You can see him in the white vest there, just walking off the mat.
Might be enough, but we have to see.
So the first time we've had a look at Berit Schweiger of Austria and Jeremy Monde of France. Excuse me.
Jeremy is an extremely strong climber, made finals a few times in his career. It would be interesting to see what he's capable of here and in this season.
Yeah, he's 4th in Kazo, 13th in Meiringen, so you would expect he's going to be there or thereabouts for a place in the final. The men's competition this year is so strong though. If you look at the start list, you wouldn't be at all surprised if 17 or 18 of those names were potential contenders for the final.
I think anyone can make finals in the semi-final. In the last 2 World Cups in the circuit, the finals were totally different. There are 6 different people in every World Cup. Jeremy is looking really strong on the top of the climb. Top for Jeremy. Jan Hoyer on the top of M number 4 here. See what he will do.
So again, I think that's 3 climbers we've seen who've touched that top hole, possibly 4. But nobody's quite managed to hold on to it. He looked very controlled up to there from what we saw of him, Jan Hoyer. Chloe Collier, women's 2, touches the top hold. Can't hang on to it. As for a clean, Jörg Verhoeven on
Cleaning the holes by himself here.
men's boulder 2. Yeah, he's doing some of the cleaning himself, and he's got his cleaner. He's getting a very thorough scrub. Men's boulder 2.
And cleaning should be taken more seriously in the World Cup. Sometimes the cleaners are not really doing their jobs properly, and you need to clean the holes by yourself.
If you are going to be a cleaner at a future World Cup, make sure you clean Alex's problems. Alex's boulders very well. You heard it here first.
There is also a rule that you cannot bring your own brush in the World Cups. You can only brush the holes with the official brushes of the competition. So, top here for France.
Successful top. Clementine Cater. Here goes Jan. Tried the Sean McCall move on men's boulder 4.
He did it this way in the last jump, so he knows he can do it as well again.
Berit Schweiger so far, not quite getting on with women's boulder 1. There's Jan, much more control this time.
It's very strong here on top of this climb.
You'd have thought this would be a boulder that will suit him. Is he going to? No, I thought he was going to go straight for the top there.
The conditions are not getting any better, and the slope is extremely slippery. The friction
Here's Jorg Verhoeven.
Jorg is looking strong on the top of the climb.
Men's problem 2. He's got one hand on the top hold.
Tough for
Got
Jorg.
2. Yes, he's happy, man. Already been on a World Cup podium this year, 3rd in Meiringen.
Be cool to see him in finals again. As one of the nicest climbers to watch. His style is really unique and clean.
And there's Berit Schweiger topping out women's Boulder 1. Jan Hoyer just having a final look at men Boulder 4.
I think still no girl got the bonus on women 4.
So here's Jan. The run and the dynos, no problem.
Trying the different way out here.
I wondered if he was going to skip that second to last volume, and he does. No. Not today. Meikotaki, women's 4. No, that does look a savage boulder, that small holds, big moves.
Sergei Topishko here from Ukraine. Made the final in Munich in the last World Cup last year. Decided he wanted to do the whole circuit this year. Didn't go quite well for him in the last 2 World Cups, but he's definitely capable of making finals again. And here he is again in the semi-final, and see what happens with him.
And Monika Recci of Germany is out onto women's Boulder 1.
So Jorg is currently in 2nd place with 2 tops in 3 attempts and just 2 bonuses. See if he can get the bonus on his first try on one of the next climbs. He will be first.
Here's Roland Rugens, men's Boulder 4.
Yuka Kobayashi here on women 4. Let's see if she get bonus here. No woman did it so far.
You can see from this angle just how overhanging that second panel is.
I think it's around 60 degrees overhang. So yeah, really overhanging. Usually in the World Cup you don't have steep walls, and this wall is quite steep. It's going to be a challenge for a lot of climbers.
Last week in Kazo we had the same, unusually steep, so second week running. Here's Monika Recci.
I think I like Kazoo. Kazoo's wall, it was a really good venue. It was nice to climb on overhanging walls for a change. Sure, he gets the bonus here. Looking strong.
And Monika Recci on the left of your screen. Oh! It shows you just how tenuous these boulders are, because she was kind of cursing to herself while her feet were still on the wall. She had long enough to curse and shout before she even fell off.
Tough for Sergei Topishko here. Looking really good. Good start for him. He'll be really happy with this stop.
I was just saying, Monika Recci, she just started to peel backwards, and it was such a slow movement. By the time she was back on the ground, she'd already done her cursing and shouting and was ready for the next one.
It's a really slabby wall.
Yeah.
So when you know he's gonna fall, you're just gonna fall, and you have time. It's
much more frustrating than when you just pop off a steep overhang. It's Fanny Givert in the
when you fall like this in a training session, you smile and laugh, but when you fall like this in a competition, you get a bit angry. Misha can get the start here on M2. Bit tricky there.
You see Monika for another go on.
Monika waiting to, and she gets the top.
That time, little tap of the volume.
Looks like she's relieved. Slab is always nerve-wracking, especially if it's your first climb. It's really hard. For us, the men, our first boulder of the season was a slab in Meiringen. It was really hard mentally. and it was a really hard slab as well. So when you get a really hard slab in the beginning of the competition and you're not quite to it, it's a bit hard to keep your head clean for the next climbs.
Here's Misha just trying to get that right foot out.
Gets the bonus here.
Gets the bonus. Matches the feet. Looking solid here.
Gets to this tricky top part here.
Now this is where power really comes into it.
He
Power
needs to
and
go.
strength.
He needs to go to the Gaston first. I think those holes are really sharp as well.
Just saw, just as we cut over to the fourth boulders, you saw Roland Rugens fly across your screen. 40 seconds to go. Have another attempt.
Kind of surprised Roland didn't stick this jump yet. He's really good in this parkour style of climbing.
We've just cut back to Katja Zalvine, who it looked briefly might top women's boulder 3. It's Fanny Gibert, women's 2.
Fanny, one of the most talented climbers in the circuit. She's definitely looking strong here on the top of this climb. She made podiums 2 times already in her career. Be cool to see her in the final here.
She has made World Cup podiums before. She was second in Munich last year.
Yep.
And for the British viewers, we'll be pleased to see Michaela Tracy out onto women's boulder 1.
The British team is doing very well this season. The women's of the British team haven't missed a semi-final yet. So all the women made semi-finals in all the 3 comps. So
also out on men's problem 1, got Ray Sugimoto. Yep, it's good year for the British women. Michaela is out now.
there's a
she's
change here.
Still got Shauna Coxsey and Leah Crane to come, all competing for Great Britain.
You can see Jeremy on M4 here trying to start. It's not an easy starting position.
On M2.
Yeah. M2 is a really hard climb.
It's Michaela. She's
Looking really confident here. If she go fast, she will stick it.
she's enjoyable to watch, Michaela Trace. She's very expressive. You can always see on her face exactly what she's thinking. I think you might see a bit of frustration now. Perhaps when she might, I suspect, stay on a bit longer before she goes next time. Her right foot was still down quite low.
You
she can work that up. She might have a bit more joy next time.
She can allow herself to fall a few times on the slab if she can do it, and then do a bit better on the other climbs.
So here's Jorg Verhoeven on the left, Chloe Collier on the right. You see Jorg going for the seemingly non-existent holds, but I can assure you they are there.
Well, they're almost non-existent. They are really small, really, really small. So
they're somewhere between non-existent and existent.
yeah.
Very small holds. They don't meet, if I go to the climbing wall, they don't meet my definition of a hold, but for people in a World Cup semi-final, they just about qualify.
Actually, all the holds here are Chinese holds, so most of the holds here are unknown for the competitors, which makes it a bit interesting because the competitors don't know if the hold is going to be good or not, and they're a bit scared of going fast sometimes.
Do you find that when you do competitions in Europe, you recognize some of the holds?
I think it's easier if you know the holds for sure. I know that sometimes if the last hold is a big volume, let's say like a flat hole volume or cheetah volume, and you know there are few types of volumes. There could be slopers, it could be jugs, and if you know it's a good hold, you know if it's a bad hold, you go a bit differently for the hold. So always good to know. Also, it's really good to know where's the good parts of the hold, or there is a big screw-on hole that you can catch. There's a lot of tricks in the World Cup. If you know the hold.
Just saw a top on women's boulder 1 from Michaela Tracy.
Second go there. Jeremy's looking strong here in the top part of M2. really strong competitor. The French team is really strong this year. Kind of sad not seeing Gigi here, but French team is really strong even without him. So
We just had Michaela Tracy on Women's Boulder 1. She got it, I think, second go. She was 8th in Meiringen, 7th in Kazo. She's been tantalisingly close to a final. You wonder if she can go one better. She was 6th in the 2014 World Championship, so no stranger to
but
top
it was
the business end of competitions.
for Michaela. It was her first semi-final and her first final in the same competition. So here's Dimitri looking confident on this upper part of this climb. Really bad hold up there. He needs to stop. He knows he needs it. See, Dimitri thinks a lot while he's climbing. It's too short there.
As soon as that left leg popped off backwards, it looked like it was going to be difficult for him. Here's Chloe Collier. No, not this one. So Sa Sol will be out onto Women's Boulder 1. And Kokoro Fuji is out onto Men's Boulder 1.
Kokoro is a really strong climber.
3rd in Kazo.
Third in Kazo. First podium there. He was in the finals in Toronto last year as well. But unfortunately in the semi-finals he bit injured his finger, so it was hard for him to climb in the finals, but
Still got 4th that day though.
yeah, it's extremely strong. Train is Big Pump Gym in Tokyo.
Good facility.
It's a good gym. I saw him route setting the day before yesterday in the morning. So 2 days before the competition, he was still route setting in this gym
In Tokyo.
in Tokyo.
Luckily
It's,
it's not too much of a time difference, but
It's interesting to see. A lot of the competitors are flying to those comps like really close to the time of the comp. So a lot of the competitors arrived yesterday evening, and today they're all, or 2 days ago evening, and the day after they're all already competed in the qualifiers.
yeah, I was just going to say there's only a 1 hour time difference between here and Tokyo, but still flying takes it out of you. Dehydration, and you don't eat properly, and sitting in an uncomfortable position. So you would imagine that flying last minute is slightly risky, but it doesn't look it so far.
Kuro is pressing here, but slightly different beta than most of the guys. He didn't bring his foot up. Looking very solid.
Never really looked in doubt once he went up for that top hole. Not sure where Sol Sar is. We'll try and find out for you.
Sergey is asking for a clean here. Again, we see that the no top on woman number 2 yet. See if Moni can get it. Looking good here, going to the bonus. She's a really strong climber. Got a bonus here. Went down. Okay,
Close that time.
close. Sergey Topishko is searching for his own way. He's a bit tall, so it's hard for him to bring the foot that close to the hand. Searching for a different method.
It is a different method. It looks an extremely strenuous one.
I think there's the only way to do it is the way we've seen, with his foot to the hand and cross to the bonus and go up.
One minute to go. Fanny Bear, women's boulder 3.
I think it's a necessary top in order to advance to the finals.
You would imagine so. She was co-commentated with me for the finals in Meiringen and was by far the most biased co-commentator I think there's ever been. Every time there was a French athlete on, she was either silent or yelling, Annie! But we don't mind that. I like that. Got to cheer your teammates on.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. The French team is a really bonded team. They're always together. They're always traveling together. Some teams here are from the same country, but the athletes are traveling by their own. They're not really the Russian team, or every guy is for himself, and they're not really a team
So
as the French guys.
The graphics say that we have Leah Crane on women's problem 1, but actually we have Sol Sa. And on men's problem 1 we have Jungwon Chon. So Sol Sa was supposed to be out last time.
Cool to see them climbing together. They are a couple in their daily life. Chongqing is by far might be the strongest climber. Won the over World Cup last year. Looking for the same thing this year. Didn't make finals this year yet, so.
No, it's not been his year yet. 17th in Meiringen, 37th in Kazo.
But he's definitely looking to change that here. Kayla got a bonus here.
So we'll endeavour to find out for you why Sol Sa did not climb in her allotted slot and is now out with Jungwon Chon.
Might have been a technical appeal here about somebody touching the corner or not topping properly. So they had to wait 5 minutes and then start again.
We will let you know when we find out. Meanwhile, Berit Schweiger. Women's boulder 3. Just looking. No, sorry, Berit, there isn't another hold. You see Jeremy Bondet next to her on the left on men's boulder 3.
M3 looks extremely tricky. Really hard. Nobody did a bonus in this climb yet, so. Rorik really need to stick this jump.
And you may have heard that shout of frustration from Jungwon Chon there. Certainly heard it from what are we, 30 metres from the wall through a big pair of headphones. Frustrated young man.
He's really, really strong. He looked extremely strong in the sessions we had in Tokyo after the World Cup. But strong is not always means you will win the comp. So there are a lot of climbers that are really strong physically or really strong in the sessions, but then the comp is different.
Sol Sa, as several of the climbers have, getting a hand onto that top volume, but not both and not in control.
So for the men, Björk could just go to bonus on the M4, but Jan is still in first place as he has 5 attempts on 3 bonuses in 5 attempts, and Björk have 3 bonuses in 7 attempts.
see Jungwon Chon on the right of your picture there.
Sassor would be really frustrated if she wouldn't do it.
Just pulling on for another go as we see Michaela Tracy on women's boulder 2.
Ray Sugimoto in M2, really strong climber as well. Was second in Adidas Rockstars last year, won World Cup in 2013 in Munich. The top of this climb looks really hard.
25 seconds for Solsar. No, this one. Shakes her head. No.
York just topped.
York just topped.
The first man to do so.
Men's problem 3.
4.
4, sorry, yes, you're right. I'm saying it right. Sorry. Men's boulder 4.
It's a good job for him. We're really happy. He'll be currently in first place. I think it would be enough for him to make finals here. But there's a lot of strong guys left, but I think it should be okay.
So Suzuku Hori is out in the men's event, and Britain's Leah Crane out onto women's boulder 1. Can't quite see her, but we can from the commentary box, and the first thing she does is give the whole thing a good scrub.
Sakura Huri here on M1, the Asian champion. Won a World Cup in 2011, I think it was. Really strong climber, made finals in World Championships, and yeah, there's so many strong Japanese climbers, it's crazy. World Cup in Kazu just showed it, was 20 guys in the isolation zone, and all of them could make finals, or semi-finals for sure. And when you go to the gym in Tokyo, you just see so many strong athletes. It's climbing is really big there. Leah Crane here. It's tricky slab. Kukur.
She was 11th in Meiringen, 14th Kazo.
They might be her best results, isn't it?
One of the a trio of very good British females. Doesn't quite get it that time.
Kokoro is looking very strong here. Oh. That's a small foot slip there.
It's the last time you say anything. Perfect time.
But he did look strong, so I think he can do it.
It's Monica Recci. She's on women's boulder 3. Quite that time. Looked like she just, perhaps the left hand came off slightly unexpectedly. She just clutched it as if it might have just pulled. I think she's okay.
There's Kurohori. Need to go a bit slower to this volume.
As we see Britain's Leah Crane progressing up that second big volume. Gonna have to leave behind the comfort of that right handhold shortly.
Here's Kokoro going for another attempt here. Doing the same method. Looks like a hard one. Switching feet. Oh, just dropped the last hold there.
On the same shot, we had two climbers go for the top at pretty much the same time. Both incredibly close.
It's Misha up and did a dyno and M4. Right to the upper crux.
Looks, you know him better than me. It looks like there's possibly a tiny bit of fatigue kicking in his movements.
Oh yes, of course. You know it's hard as he's traveling, and and I mean you get tired and
Monica Recci,
top there.
women's boulder 3. Big smile. Okay, 1 minute 10 left.
I know that in Kazo, a lot of the athletes had a jet lag and they couldn't sleep properly. Might some still have some jet lag here as well.
1 minute to go. Leah just teetering away across that volume.
There's just one problem for the men that we didn't see a top on. It's M3. Wait, and someone tops it, and two problems for the women that nobody topped. Kokur
And Leah so close on that one.
just finished number 2. He'll be really happy with it. He needs this top. You need those tops for the men.
So Leah here, in a bit of a race against time, she's got 10 seconds, and the problem is you have to move so slowly and in control, but it's tantalisingly close. Had it not been for the time and the fact she had to rush, I think Leah might have got that one on that attempt. So, men's competition. Rustam Gelmanov, winner last week, Kazo. Should have Aya Ono, Japan, and women's boulder 1.
Rustam, one of the strongest climbers here, most experienced ones. I think he doesn't need a lot of introduction.
Well, when we were looking at the routes earlier, you said Rustam will crush this one. Is it one? Men's
No,
boulder 1 you were talking about?
Of course, it's M number 2. I think everyone knows
M2.
that Rustam has maybe the strongest fingers on the planet. He can hold everything, he can crimp everything. I know that in the qualification round in Meiringen, he couldn't do the slab in a proper way, so he put his fingernails behind the holes and crimped them with his fingernails, and he climbed the problem like this. So he can crimp everything, and
It's very light as well, very particular about his diet and everything.
he doesn't eat a lot. He's really light. He weighs like 40 kilos, something like that. So he's really small for a climber. I think it's a bit hard to squeeze volumes when you're that small, but usually you don't have much of those climbs in the World Cup. So
Being light and having incredibly strong fingers is a pretty good combination. So far, he's not getting in with men's
well,
1.
he cannot crimp there. So,
Very true.
but
It's Aya Ono here of Japan on
Jungwon is
women's
also
1.
known to have really strong fingers there. The M3 is a bit too tricky. Maybe
I think this is slightly too far away, but I think this is Rei Sugimoto on. It is on men's boulder 3. You see Sol Sa on the left of your screen.
looking very strong up there. It's gonna be a hard move.
This is a hard move.
Jumps to it.
See Michaela Tracy there on women's boulder 3, just making her way up to the under press. In the
Rustam
foreground,
is doing a bit.
Rustam Gelmanov just appeared from nowhere. You can see him there to the right.
Just using a slightly different method than most of the guys. I think it's a bit harder method as well. I think going right is a bit easier. You know, he needs this top. It's important climb to finish here in the semi-final in order to advance to the finals.
Tried to change his grip on his left hand there. Couldn't quite make it work, but Iono can.
Good job there.
Wearing bib number 9, competing for Japan. Successful top. Solsa, you didn't see it, but from the fact that she had her hands on her head and was looking pretty exasperated, I suspect has had another close call on women's boulder too. Here she goes again. Comfortable so far.
Jeremy here is on top of M4. It's really interesting. The French team are really good in those jumps. They have this facility that they all train together, all national team. The gym is closed just for the national team. They have their own trainer, their own route setter, and they just became really strong in the specific style because it's really hard to train in most commercial gyms. When you have someone set stuff like this for you, and you train it a lot, you become really strong and really good in jumps and whatever you're working on.
Yeah, the route setting for the IFSC is quite different to what you normally see when you go down the climbing wall.
It's
Possibly more thought-provoking at times, more volumes.
it's different because few reasons. First, I mean, they need to challenge the athletes. The athletes are really strong, and if you put something simple, it needs to be really, really hard. And if it's really, really hard, it's also a matter of conditions. And then it's a bit unfair sometimes because if it's just a really hard problem with really small holes, straightforward, be not fair if the conditions change. And the other thing is just they want the route setters want to test the athletes on a lot of different styles. So you will have a straightforward climb, but it'd be just one like this, and you have a jump. It'd be one jump. You have a technical climb and a powerful climb. So they really want to test the climbers in a lot of situations because they don't want to see the or find the strongest climber in one style. They want to see the strongest climber overall.
That's a really interesting point, that if they make the climbs too physical, we'll zoom in a second, we've got Leah Crane on women's boulder 2.
Going to bonus here. He's strong. Bit tricky section here.
Not quite. That was, yeah, it's very interesting that if they make it just about power or finger strength or just physicality, there is a disadvantage, particularly somewhere like this where the conditions change so rapidly.
Also, it's a bit, if the climb is really simple, you pretty much can know who will win the comp. I mean,
True.
and you can set a comp, then Jan Hoyer will win with flip-flops. if you put a compression, like powerful campusing and volumes on or big holes, Jan will win with flip-flops. But if you put just really tiny crimps, like the tiniest crimps imaginable in a ladder, so Rustam will win easily. So I mean, it's also about making something that will be hard for everyone and not only for just one person and his own style. Very interesting case was in World Championships in Munich in 2014, where there were 4 jumps and Adam Ondra still won, even though he's not known for being the best dynoer in the circuit. And
we talk about the route setters a lot here, but it really is impossible to overstate how tricky it is to make it the boulders difficult enough that you get separation between the athletes, but not too hard that nobody can climb them, and not too based on strength and power that it favours certain athletes. So it's an incredibly tough job, never more so than when you're in China. We haven't even introduced Petra Klingler here on the left.
it's
climbing
interesting
Switzerland,
because
and Yannick Kruder on the right, who's climbing for Slovenia. Sorry, go on.
because it's interesting because a lot of those climbers flashed 8B boulders or 80 plus boulders, and those climbs here are usually not more than 70 plus or 8A at the maximum, and some of the slabs here are graded 7A, and it just doesn't mean that the grade is higher, but it's just really tricky for it, really balancy and really hard to understand in 5 minutes. It's also important to know and understand that the athletes have just 5 minutes to climb the problem. So they cannot rest as much as they will rest outdoors or in the session, and it makes everything harder. So the problems are a bit easier, but they are hard.
Could be about to see a successful top here. Sergei Topishko. No, no. Couldn't quite shift his balance.
Just seen two tops here. We didn't see it on the screen, but Jarnik Kruder, top number one. Skoruhuri here looked really strong on number two.
Here's Petra Klingler, women's boulder one. Willing that hold closer. Might have to jump a bit, she does. Oh, she can't quite press it. So Sergei already back up, didn't waste any time. Could be about to top, is about to top, does top.
Good job for him. He'll be really happy with this top. He is a really strong climber. Deserves to be in final, but I don't know if it's enough because he did a lot of tries and a lot of attempts, but just might be.
Miho Nanaka is out, as is Albon Levier.
And Balavier, really talented climber, really young. Was born in '94. Yeah, I was competing with him all my youth career, so known him for a while now. He's like he's known to be my twin. Look quite alike. Yeah, but he's really strong. In 1 year, he became really good and started training with all the French team, and now he's a contender for the win. Here's Rustam, just cruising number two, as I said.
Oh,
Did
your,
the
your skills of prediction. We were walking down the front, so 10 minutes before we came on air, and you said Rustam will crush that, and he's delivered.
he just did the wrong beta and still did it, so that was nice. Right up here, really fast to be on top of the climb.
And Miho Nanaka, successful top.
No problem for her
Boulder
there. Mio is an interesting case. She never won a World Cup yet, and she's still young, but I mean, might be the time for her to win. She's
second right here in Chongqing last year, albeit at a different venue, but she obviously likes the city.
She's really strong physically, and she's a really talented climber. She can do very well here. I think also she might feel slight relief after World Cup in Kazo. I think there are a lot of pressure on her there. She was the only Japanese girl in the final, and people counted on her to do well. So maybe after the Cup, she kind of feels a bit more relaxed here, as she already delivered a medal in Kazo. So maybe here she do even better. Alban sticks the bonus.
That is Albon Levier on men's drum one, not Ned Kruder. And he's climbing very well. Fourth in Meiringen. Not so much joy last week. 18th Kazo. He's a man in a hurry
But
here.
it's the problems are very different from Meiringen, from Kazo. Every stage we see a different setting, a different route setting, a different route setters, and it's to see all these climbers climbing in different styles. I think the route setting in this comp is really good. There are some things that could have been better. Maybe M3 is a bit too tricky. We didn't see a top or bonus out there yet. Moving forward looks really hard, but all along the comp until now, the qualies and the semis are really good, and the setting was really good, so they did a good job there. Annika is fighting here. Really powerful climb.
Just joining us, I'm joined by Alex Kazanov. If you're wondering why my co-commentator knows so much about the route setting so far this season, it's because he's been climbing on the boulders.
Been falling from the boulders a lot as well, unfortunately.
You said you just weren't feeling it yesterday from when you walked out. Is that something that just happens? Is there anything you could do to control that?
So sometimes just you feel not good on a certain day. There's a lot of reasons that could be. I mean, I didn't feel really well in the isolation zone. I felt pretty weak in the warm up, and I felt I didn't have any juice in my muscles, and I could do the more technical climbs, and I did like the things that were in my style, but where I had to push and have power in my muscle, and it happens. Might be for a lot of reasons. I think it. Also, I've been doing the World Cup in Meringen, the World Cup in Kazo, so it's a lot of traveling.
There's Ray Sagamoto. Sorry to interrupt. Problem thought.
That was out there.
Wow.
And also, I feel really not I feel uncomfortable a bit in China. It's a really different world for me. It's different food, and feels like my body is not really adapted to this style here. So it's also can be a reason why. But yeah, I mean, it happens to everyone. We can see Chongqing last week, and
So here is a woman on women's Boulder 1 who should need no introduction to climbing fans, Akira Noguchi. Disappointed last week, she was 20th in her home country.
Tomoa is looking very strong out here. Tomoa Narasaki, another really strong Japanese climber, a bit unknown.
Both Japanese climbers going well here.
His second time in a row that he wins the qualification round in his group, so he won the qualification round in Kazo as well.
No messing about.
Really strong out there.
Never really looked especially troubled by any move on that boulder.
Looked really easy. Probably the most solid climb I've seen here.
So we can focus on Akio here. She seems to have found a bit of form again. Doesn't quite get it that time.
Yeah, Kyo is one of the most experienced climbers. It's interesting to hear from the older climbers here, more experienced climbers, about the motivation. Know that Dimitri is not really motivated right now. I mean, he did so many comps already. It's been think it's really hard to be motivated for so long. You could see Killian quitting last year from the comp scene after he won 22 gold medals. So to win so much, I think it's a bit hard to keep being motivated. Is Lee Crane trying to think what to do here on women 3? Going. Trying to knee bar here. Really hard position. She got it. I just fell from the top right there. Bit short. Should be disappointed from that. Still got plenty of time here. Kyo is tough for Kyo.
Big smile. It's nice to see. We haven't seen the best of Akio the first two events, and it's good to see her back at the top. She's one of the greats of the sport, and
definitely.
You always want to see people like that at the top competing. Here's Michaela Tracy. Final boulder. Ned Kruder. Men's boulder 2.
Got a bonus here. to finish this one. Knows he needs to finish one. Would be really cool to see Arnis back in the final. He was second in the World Championships in Munich in 2014. Then I had a bit of a rough season this year. Couldn't quite hold it, but now he's back in the semi-finals and stronger than ever. So it would be cool to see him back in finals as well. Kokoro here is.
That's been a really good boulder. We've seen a couple of tops, but stopped a few people in their tracks.
Okay.
And Petra Klingler on the right. Keepy is interested with his haircut. Started out with the straight up mohawk, and we had, I can't remember what we had in Kazo, but we're back to sort of half a mohawk. Always comes up with something.
But
such a relaxed character. I saw him yesterday before the qualification. He had his big headphones on, and he's listening to some music, looked deep in the zone, but as I walked past, takes his headphones off. Hey man, big wave. He's so relaxed all the time.
I love Trudy. He's a really good friend of mine, and he's a really funny guy. The Slovenian's known to be the funniest guys in the circuit, and the best party guys as well. So if you want to go to a good party, always follow Slovenian. That's a thing for life.
I learned that lesson the hard way in one or two competitions. But yeah, I was amused just when I thought he was in the zone, impervious to the outside world. Big smile and a thumbs up and a hey.
His haircut is a symbol. Here's Alexei Rubtsov here, number one of the contenders to win the overall World Cup.
You would have thought so, yeah. Won in Meiringen.
Also my roommate here in China.
Does he snore?
No, not really.
Good.
Actually, he's a really nice guy.
Here's Shauna Coxsey out. Unusually, she didn't actually win the qualifying round. After last week in Kazo with a clean sweep, winning the qualifiers, winning the semis, winning the final, she
Mio
quite
is
win.
looking
Second
strong
place.
here. Mio is looking strong, looking to be the first woman to finish this climb. Such a hard move out there.
Here's Alexei on the right, Shauna on the left, both going for the top. Shauna gets it, does Alexei. He's got one hand. He does get it. Does he? Just confirming with the judges? Yes. Alban Levier onto men's boulder 2, and Rustam Gelmanov on number 3. Now you might think this would suit Rustam. We talked already about his steel-like fingers.
I think it's not only about fingers. He will try to do it with the footholds, but I think it's gonna be really hard. But if someone can do it, it's Rustam. It's also a thing that just Rustam does. He just sits between every attempt in order to keep his heart rate low.
It can make a difference in more aerobic sports, running sports like soccer or rugby. Anytime you're not on your feet, you do recover much quicker.
Well, and climbing is the same.
More. Yeah.
I mean, if you're overhang climb or really long climb, or like this jump on M4, your heart rate goes wild. Because you're really nervous and you try really hard. And
it does make it, if you can get the weight off your feet and get in a sitting position, it does reduce your heart rate much faster than if you're standing up. Which I'm sure Rustam is well aware of, and that's why he does it. Miho Nonaka here on women's boulder 2.
looking
Can
to
she
have
hold
the
it?
first stop here.
It's not
Come
done till
on.
it's done on this problem.
Come on, Miho.
Come on, Mio.
Yes, the first woman to top this climb.
Gives it a big slap.
She needs to be really. Ah, here's Sassol on the top of women 4. We see a top here. Yes,
We will.
you see. First woman to top this climb as well. So that's it. All the women qualifiers have been topped. It's good job for the route setters. The only climb that haven't been topped yet is M3.
So Aya Ono of Japan powering away up. Women's boulder 3 gets the pinch. Sets us up. About to say sets us up.
She'll be disappointed with this.
She will. She looked very solid until there.
Alba trying hard there, the small crimps.
She's only got 10 seconds.
See how small they are here. No feet.
Couldn't quite hold it.
Quite. This is our top women qualifier here, Melissa Nev. She did really good job with the qualifications. Been really solid in the last 2 comps, getting second twice. Yeah, she's a contender for this year.
Very much a contender, yeah. Second in mirroring and second in Kazo.
Maybe first here.
Quite possibly. Quite possibly. She'd be a popular winner. Crowd always like her. Engages with the crowd.
She's always smiling. I think it's
Always smiling.
yesterday Shauna looked a bit not unhappy. So maybe it's because of the weather here or because of the atmosphere. Always nice to see someone smiles.
There's Petra Klingler on the right.
Also,
Also a very smiley climber. Very
Yeah.
popular. And Neg on the left, who we've already discussed.
Tomoa is looking very strong here. I think he made one final in his career, and it was here in China, like 2 years ago, if I remember right. So it was in the finals of the Youth World Championships in Arco this year. He's pretty young.
Can he hold that? He can. He needs to get his other hand on it though.
Strong.
Very strong stuff.
Doing very well here.
Here's Melissa teetering up. Now I think that's the furthest we've seen anyone get both feet up that volume.
Lisa, no problems there.
Never looked in much doubt. Yeah, she's refound some form in a big way this year, Melissa.
Yes, she looks really fit. Also interesting to see how the climbers choose their climbing shoes. Melissa just climbed with a really, really, really soft shoe, like the softest shoe. And the other hand, Leah Crane here climbs with a stiff shoe. So, like really stiff one. So,
Come on, Leah.
looks a bit tired.
Bit of frustration. Her and Shauna Coxsey are training partners, and Leah and Michaela Tracy, the third of the strong British trio. Looking good this year. You expect one of them is going to be in the final before too long.
They're also Pilates partners.
They
or
are,
something.
yes. If you follow either Leah or Shauna on social media, you will see lots of gymnastic Pilates style stunts that they managed to do. Very, very impressive to watch. Probably quite amusing to watch them while they're attempting it. The end result is very, very impressive. Petra Klingler
She can't quite get it.
battling with that volume. And men's boulder 3
This looks just weird.
stopped everyone.
Yes.
There's Leah, 1 minute 10. Wipes her feet, pulls on. One minute to go. If you heard that buzzer, that is the 1 minute to go buzzer.
Yeah, the competitors have two buzzers. One's for last minute and one is for the time, when time finishes.
Here's Petra, trying again. Very close on the last attempt.
Screw just slips there in the top of man 4.
This looks promising for Petra. Looks very
God,
promising.
she got it. She should be happy with the stop. She needs the stop.
She won a World Cup in China last year. It wasn't here, it was in Haiyang, but she has to be seen as a serious contender.
She's a really strong climber, really physical when it comes to, but also technical climber as well. I mean, if you see her, she does really good overall in all styles. She's a bit bigger than most of the girls here, but helps her sometimes as well. So
Alexei Rubtsov back out, as is Shauna Coxsey.
so
The two winners from Meiringen a fortnight ago.
let's see if Alexei can do it.
Incredibly strenuous. Got to simultaneously pull out on that crimp.
It's interesting. I mean, I didn't know that, but Alexei worked the whole year to pay for those comps. He pays for everything by himself. He worked the whole year in the gym in order to afford going to all these World Cups, and his win helped him to continue and do more comps. So that's something you wouldn't expect from what might be the strongest competitor today, but he does pay from all the comps for his pocket.
It's very impressive, very dedicated. And he got his reward in Meiringen, top step of the podium.
Yeah.
See in the background there is a woman that's been on the top step of both podiums so far this year, Shauna Coxsey, top problem 1. So here's Rustam Galmanov, men's boulder 4, does the run? No, don't like that move.
Rustam is not really known for his jumping skills. More of here's Alexei back on the top of M2 here. He's strong here.
This is
Very
such a strenuous move.
Such a powerful move. Ah, so much power.
He's stuck it though.
So strong from Alexei. So solid there.
You can see the shoulder blades and pretty much every muscle from the waist up is working so hard when you're in that Gaston position, pushing both hands in opposite directions.
Really like to see Alexei climbs. I mean, he seems like he never runs out of power. He can climb 20 moves problem and then be as fresh in the last move as the first move, because he tries so hard and he never gets tired. It's really impressive.
Alban Levier, the latest man to try boulder 3. Meanwhile, in women's boulder 2, we've got Shauna Coxsey.
Looking to be the second woman to do this top. It's close from Shauna.
Surprised she went from that low down. Is that her? It is.
Right, so
Doesn't want another go.
you will save power for next climb. She probably knows that she needs to do the next climb, or
Well, it's an interesting question because last week in the finals we had Sean McCall here, and he was saying, "Oh, when I come out, I know what I need to do. I know what the score is. I look at the scoreboard." And then we talked to Shauna in the interview, and she said, "Well, when I came out for the last boulder, I didn't know what was required." So I'm never quite sure how much the competitors know about the score and what is required.
it depends on the competitor. I mean, it's also the qualification round, the semi-final round, is, I mean, it's in isolation zone, but when you go out, you sit in just like in front of the boulders, so you just can turn your head and see. And also, when you're climbing, if you're resting, if you know that your climb is a bit too hard for you, just look right and you see climbers doing the other climbers. So it depends on the climber what's better for you. Actually, for some climbers, it's better to be isolated in their own world and just climb the best they can. But Sean is known to be a really technical climber, so he looks at the results all the time in other people. It's a tactic. I mean, it helps, but not all people. Uh, Also in the finals, also depends if the other guys talk, if they flashed or not flashed the climb, or they topped it, because you don't know. You know only things that people said. Usually you know though. Usually, for you guess. Also, also climbers like Shauna, that are so experienced, they just know if it's hard for them, it's probably hard for everyone. So
One of the big advantages of being the dominant force that Shauna is.
Yarni is going to jump this one. Bit low on the jump. This could be Petro's climb here. Really powerful. Yarni stakes the jump. Got a bonus here.
Looking powerful through those moves. Now this has been the end of many an attempt at this point. Needs to get his feet back on.
Close from Yarni.
See Melissa Lenev there on women's boulder 2. Just figuring out how to go for that round hold.
Interesting to see Melissa climbs in live, because you see she's a bit, I don't know if you see it on the screen, but she's shaking a little bit while she's climbing. And I mean, it doesn't mean that she's nervous or something, it's just her way of climbing. There are a lot of climbers like this. Dave Graham is shaking while he's climbing a little bit, but you know, when you see she's shaky, but she's solid on the holes. And
quite a contrast to Shauna, who, no matter how hard she's trying, just looks the same all the time.
All the time. It's a bit like a Russian thing, actually. If you look at the Russian athletes, all of them are so calm all the time. Actually, Alexei is not a typical in this, but the Russians usually just have this ice face, have the same look all the time.
He's frustrated after his last attempt.
I think he is. Ooh. Now he'll be even more frustrated.
He will be frustrated, I suspect.
I think he knows
well worth another go.
He cannot make finals, so he's a bit frustrated. He did too many attempts. So right now, in order to make finals, you need 2 tops in 5 attempts. This is the borderline here. So Chongqing sitting currently in first place after he done the last problem here in his third try. So he got 3 tops in 9 attempts. Second place, Jörg Verhoeven, 3 tops, 10 attempts. Tomohiro Arasaki here with 2 flashes. Then Jan Hoyer and Kuro Fuji and Alex Rubtsov completes the list in 6th place.
You know, he's had a good rest, full minute or so. Oh, he can't get much closer without holding on to it, surely.
It's a tricky move. It's a really hard move.
Gaining momentum, then losing it.
Being
Extremely difficult.
Being one of the last climbers on this climb is not an advantage. The volumes are getting greasy and full of chalk, and the friction of those volumes is actually not so good.
Really?
It's not really rough and it's really smooth, so basically when it gets full of chalk they become really slippery.
Here's Melissa, a bit more slowly this time. She lunged for the hold last time.
But
This time she's doing it statically.
different.
Oh!
So close from Melissa.
Tantalisingly close. Here's Petra Kling. Thought we a big smile from Petra Kling. I thought we were going to see a very spectacular way of doing that boulder. So Alexei Rubtsov and Shauna Coxsey are back on the mats. Shauna instantly asked for a clean.
Alexei looking very focused here.
What sort of mood was he in this morning?
You're always in a good mood. He doesn't show it that much, but he's always in a good mood.
Friendly, quiet guy.
Yeah.
But very focused. Alban Levier, he's on his final boulder. As is Miho Nonaka right next to him. There's Alban. Let's just have a look at that running
See if
start.
I was right about the method of doing the climb. I said you need to do a 360 campus move
on women's boulder
on
4.
women's 4. M3 looks a bit too tricky. No tops. I think there's no bonuses in M3,
So far stopped everyone. And Shauna just relaxing on women's boulder 3. Doesn't seem too stressed. Albon makes the jump that time.
bonus for Alba. I think that's this are finals actually. Nothing can change anymore. We have men's finals is done. Have Chung Wong, Jörg Verhoeven, Tomohiro Arasaki, Jan Hoyer, Kuro Fuji, and Alexei Rubtsov going to the finals.
So Alexei's got just slipped there. Plenty of time, just plenty of climbing to spare. Miho Nonaka, not going with your data. Alexei's not getting on with men's boulder 3 any better than anyone else has.
Yeah, boulder 3 is a bit too tricky, but
Alban, boulder 4. And he makes it work. Albon Levier.
Good job for him.
Great work.
Fortunately, he's the only top in this competition. So as I said, for the women, you need 2 tops to make finals here.
Powers of prediction.
But for the guys,
Significantly better
I
than
was
mine.
wrong. I mean, some people did 3 tops, as I said, but you need 2 tops to make finals as well. So.
Here's Alexei Rubtsov.
Searching for a different way. I don't think there is a. Yeah, we can see his facial expression. It's definitely describes the problem perfectly.
No explanation needed from Alexei there.
Yeah. Kind of a flashback back to Meringen, the first problem in the semifinal that nobody could do. It just looked impossible.
So you can just see there, Melissa Lenev handing a scorecard in.
Interesting to see that Martin Stranik is not competing here as well, the second place finisher of Meringen. Martin Stranik actually missed the isolation zone for the semifinal in Kazo for 5 minutes, and so he was out of the competition.
It's a shame. He came to Japan especially. He's not come here, so he flew to Japan, missed the semi-final isolation. We also had a missed isolation yesterday for the qualifiers.
Yeah, Iranian guy, a competitor, came and missed the isolation zone for the qualification by a few minutes, and he wasn't allowed to compete as well.
It's
a shame.
You don't want to criticise, but it's surely slightly unforgivable. The time is the time. The organisers, the media, everyone has to be on time, and I do appreciate that.
Here there was
got to
no
get across the city and everything, but you know, you just need, it's such a silly reason to miss out.
Yeah, actually, in this comp there was no reason to be late, but sometimes they have changes in the schedule of the competition, and people just don't know about those changes because they're not published enough, and then mistakes happen. Happened to Jarnik Ruder in Grunewald 2014. He missed the finals isolation zone by a few minutes because of timetable change that he didn't know about.
That you have to feel sorry for someone in that situation.
Yeah.
But, Martin last week will be frustrated with himself. As we see, Kia Noguchi.
So close there.
Thought we were going to see quite an unusual method of climbing that.
Yeah.
Melissa Lenev just having a rest. We saw that from Shauna Coxsey as well, just chilling out in the black volume.
She's cleaning her shoes here. I think the volume is pretty greasy and full of chalk. So currently Shauna is in first place with 2 flashes, and Mio with 2 tops and 3 attempts. And Kyo Noguchi, 2 tops, 3 attempts. Caroline from Austria is in first place. That's a good surprise right here. Maybe she should make her first final. Then Monika Recci with 2 tops and 4, and Mei Kotake from Japan with 2 tops and 4.
So Melissa needs this.
Yeah, she really needs the top of this one.
Just to reiterate, Melissa Lenev is currently sitting in 7th place. She has 1 top. 6 people above her all have 2 tops. So if she's going to get in the final, she needs to top another boulder.
Tamar doesn't know that he's already in the final, so he's trying hard.
Great to see.
Usually, if you have a scoreboard next to you and you know you're already in the final, you wouldn't climb the last problem.
Especially one like this, it requires so much energy.
Yeah, of course, and also because it's not like qualification. You have the final is just in a few hours, so athletes want to save their powers. And Jan for sure wouldn't climb this climb. If we would do 3 tops, Jan wouldn't climb the last climb.
Melissa just blowing chalk off that lowest volume. So she does need this. If she doesn't get this, she certainly needs the next one. Currently sitting in 7th.
Kia back on the top of women 4.
Here comes Melissa. Apologies if there's been the occasional lack of scoring updates. There've been 1 or 2 connection problems with the scoring system, but we have all the information we need now. And we know that Melissa Leneve needs this.
Yeah, she really needs this or either women 4. Women 4 is a bit harder. There's 1 top on this climb, so she really needs to this climb.
I'd imagine that this has got to be the one for Melissa, unless she can pull something extraordinary out of the bag.
Also, I think the volumes here and the falls are really polished. This texture of this volumes is really poor, and yeah.
She doesn't get it. Well, we'll confirm shortly how many attempts she's used up. But that is a big blow for Melissa Leneve.
Lex is a bit short on the jump here. So this is the last man of this competition is climbing. He also doesn't know that he's already in the final.
Your predictions are pretty good, actually. You said you needed 2 tops for the women. You're right about that. And 3 for the men. Almost. The top 2 have had 3 tops. Very impressive.
Thank you. Shauna is unfortunately out again. He's 7th for the 2nd time in a row. Wouldn't be really happy with that.
Here's Alexi. Looks very powerful. Those moves, he fired through them.
Lexi's so strong, so talented.
We see Shauna pretty strong as well, just
It was
hanging around considering her next move. Now this is what Shauna Coxsey is doing, is what Alex Kazanov predicted would be required. She was listening to you even if no one else was.
This was a really solid climb. She just cruised it. She's so fit this year. It's crazy. She's just in another level.
She is on another level. 3 tops for Shauna.
Yeah. Should be in 1st place again for the 3rd time in a row.
Utterly dominant so far this season. Lexi Rubsov's the only climber out on the wall right now.
It's really strong climber. Just want to get there back again. Misses it. I think he's getting a bit nervous, but you can see him smiling, which is good. It's rare to see a Russian smile in a comp. So. I've seen Dimitri smile once in one of the stages of the World Cup somewhere.
Really?
While he was climbing. That was extraordinary.
It's very focused, Alexei Rubsov, but very friendly, as I say, quiet but friendly.
Yeah.
Away from the wall, but when he's on it, no smiling, no
It's
waving at
crazy.
the crowd, just business.
It's crazy, you know, we all such good friends outside the circuit, and we all just travel together around the world, and we have this thing like in nice. Good job, Alexei.
Great job, Alexei. Well, we'll just get a confirmation of the number of attempts, but that will bump him up to at least 3rd.
Yep.
So he was already guaranteed a place in the final, but he will be in the top 3 from this semi-final.
It's funny when we are competing in Japan or Switzerland, we're like, hey, yeah, see you tomorrow in Japan or see you tomorrow in China. And we all just
It's rock star lifestyle.
Yeah, it's well, don't get as much money as rock stars, but we we do travel a lot, so it's
Very similar
fortunate.
to rock stars, just without the money, the groupies,
We had the
the
sex, drugs,
fame.
and rock and roll.
Yeah, the screaming crowd. Other than that,
Oh,
it's
there
very
is no.
similar.
We have a screaming crowd
We do,
actually,
we do have, we do have the
especially in
screaming crowd.
Innsbruck or Munich. There's a really good crowd.
I don't know why I'm saying we have the screaming crowd. I don't get the screaming crowd. You guys do.
Actually, in Japan, it was nice in the qualification round. We had a really big crowd already in the qualification round, so usually not the case in different countries. So.
You can see here the crowd's filling up in Chongqing. We had a huge crowd yesterday for the qualifiers. I
Yes, but
expect we will do for the final as well.
it's funny, you know. I think it's the only place where the crowd are not climbers. Usually, people who are going to watch climbing are in some way related to climbing. Like people are going to watch soccer games or basketball games. They're interested in this game. And then here, it's just you can see just random people standing there and watching the comp.
We're actually in a. We just see Melissa Leneve come out for her final problem.
This is her last chance. As for you to know, Alexi is in third place with 3 tops in 13 attempts. It's quite a lot, actually.
So Alexei Rubtsov, he does move up to third behind Yongwon Chon and Jorg Verhoeven. So Yongwon Chon not been the force we expected this year after his overall victory last year, but possibly hitting form again. Melissa, just take your time here.
She knows she needs to do it. I think she knows Shauna flashed it as she was already sitting behind the climb. So I think she knows she can flash it as well, or at least do it. So she really thinks, or quite possibly imagining herself climbing the problem before she climbs it. And this way she can be more sure about the flash. But it is the hardest climb probably of the qualification. So
Doesn't flash it. Bit of frustration coming in here. She's had a very good season so far, as we've said a couple of times. Second in the 2 World Cups so far, second in the French National Championships. She was 2-time French boulder champion back in 2010 and 11.
I think she can afford being 7th. Also because the season this year is pretty long. There's 7 World Cups. So the worst result of every competitor is deleted after the season. So even she get once, she will get 7th, and will keep being on a podium in the rest of the comps. It's fine. And 7th is a pretty good result for the overall.
So Melissa Leneve, her 1 top so far on Boulder 1. She flashed 1 top, 1 attempt. However, she has just used up another attempt trying here.
And she gets a pinch here.
She will need.
Now she needs to do this tricky.
Is she going to follow your beater?
Looks like she's trying something else here. Maybe she will do it now.
This really is do or die for Melissa Leneve. This is it. No more chances.
Well, she got 2 more minutes. She got 1 more attempt. I think if she goes for the campus move, she will do it. But I think it's quite hard to go for the move, such a move, especially if you have 1 minute left.
So I think she'll use up quite a good chunk of the time resting here. Yeah, you can see her just strolling back and forth. Happy about something. You wouldn't have thought there was much pressure.
It's nice to see her smile. I mean, she's always smiling, doesn't matter what. So. She goes here for what possibly can be her last attempt. See if she can do it. She gets the arner clean here. It's one really hard move out here. Ah, he misses it. I think it's might be done for her. There's just 30 seconds left. I don't think she can do it in 30 seconds.
She's gonna have a go.
Well, she go for it, so
Maybe that
might be wrong.
frustration, aggression will help.
Yeah, sometimes helps. Come on. She get the spin. She goes for the. No, she goes for the tokes again.
She's got 10
And
seconds. No.
they knew that some girls would try it, so they put a screw on just above the other hold. So they won't do it.
Not today for Melissa. She misses her first final of this year.
Still 7th place is a decent result, so I think first final for Mei Kotake.
There we have the women's result. The final will be Shauna Coxsey, Aki Noguchi, Miho Nanaka, Caroline Zinhuber, Monica Recci, and Mei Kotake. Chloe Collier and Melissa Leneve just missing out. Fanny Gibert and Michaela Tracy making up the rest of the top 10. As we see all the Chinese crowd off to grab some lunch before the final, which for the men will feature Jongwon Chon, York Verhoeven, Alexei Rubtsov, Tomoa Narasaki, Yan Hoyer, and Kokora Fuji. Sean McCall once again tantalizingly close in 7th.
3 new guys in the final this year. Like 3 guys is the first. This is their first final this season, and 3 guys is their second final this season. So it's interesting. It's
well, the men's competition is incredibly open this year, and the women's is looking pretty fierce too. Big thank you.
Thank you
for joining us.
It was a pleasure.
And we will see you later on today for the finals.